there. Yeah, that's strange. Interesting.
No idea. But hey, guys, welcome back to License to View, a podcast in the internet. Two best friends get together to talk about pop culture news. I'm Jason. That's Zach. Zach, what's going on, man?
Not much, man. Busy week. A lot of
Yeah.
stuff happening. Reading, watching, playing. All the three trident spikes of this pop culture world. Yes.
Of consumption. I'll tell you right now, man. I am tired.
Yeah, I'm tired too.
I'm tired, and I was up late last night playing Tsushima.
I was going to, but I couldn't. Something was jacked in my contacts, so I went to bed early and I got up at like 5 o'clock this morning and then just started playing just as soon as I got up because I just needed. I don't know. My sleep schedule's already been jacked up because they got me back to doing the 2 days in the morning and then I did the noon 3 days this week. So I went from waking up, going to bed at like 4 p.m. 2 days, all last week to 2 days, and then I went to like a regular. It's all fucked up. So it's like my sleep schedule has been like totally jacked. Like Wednesday night, I couldn't even fall asleep for longer than an hour. So it's just like I've been like tired all week.
Right.
But
well, with that being said, what have you been checking out this week, if anything?
Lots of big stuff. I mean, we're gonna get to. I think we did a couple of the same things. So I'll start with what I know was different, which was the first thing I did was I watched a documentary. You might have already seen it. I think we might have talked about it before, but I'd never watched it, and I don't know, just sparked my interest at some point. But I watched the Counterpunch documentary on the boxing world, circa 2016, 2017, around then. It was good. I liked the three storylines, the way that they told it. I mean, the director's obviously passionate about it, being an amateur boxer himself. I like the personalities that he chose, seeing the different sides of the boxing world, from the professional side to the wannabe professional to the amateur side, with all these characters that I think all really showed their own unique perspectives in the boxing world. I mean, I've never been a huge boxing guy outside of like boxing movies, so to see the actual how the sausage is made as far as like in the boxing industry goes, especially with like the thing that was most eye-opening to me was like, I mean, you kind of figure like how professional boxing works because like that's what you always see in the movies, but like seeing the stuff specifically with like Cam Awesome and like his journey from like trying to go to the Olympics and like how fucking shitty those guys' lives are when they're just trying to do like they're just trying to do the actual like competition of it. Like they're not in it for the money, they're really just in it for like the sport in and of itself. And seeing like what he had to go through and all his struggles and like the money problems that go with it, and the fact that there's no money in amateur boxing. Like if you want to make any money at all, you have to go pro. So that was probably the most interesting part.
I'm a big boxing fan.
Mm-hmm.
In the most casual sense, as in like I watch a lot of fights on ESPN Plus, on the Zone or whatever. I watch a lot of matches, and I've seen a lot of big matches, but I don't know enough about technique. All I know about technique is from Ippo. That's all I know. Everything I know about boxing, I know from Hajime Ippo. Pretty
well, that
much.
was the thing. That was like the one thing I know from that, and from like just like boxing movies in general, which is just like I saw the one guy do the Dempsey roll, and I was like, oh, I know what the Dempsey roll is. That's all I got.
But then
that's
even
all I
remember because I watched Ippo. I read Ippo before I even watched real boxing. I mean, I would see the Pacquiao fights because I'm Filipino and it's mandatory. But like I remember like seeing like Dempsey roll and like Ippo, and then watching the real life Dempsey roll. I'm like, that ain't the same.
Not the same.
It's not even close to being the same,
Yeah.
But I haven't seen that documentary. I know it exists. I saw it on Netflix.
Yeah.
But I never watched it.
It's definitely dated for sure. Because I mean, all documentaries usually are dated, a couple years after they came out, and I'm pretty sure it came out in like probably 2017. Because I think a lot of the competitions and stuff they're just talking about, and especially I mean, Cam's story dates it the most because like his is the journey to the Olympics, and it's like heading into the 2016 Olympics. So it might actually come out in like 2016, I guess.
Right.
Would have made more sense. Yeah, because it's like must have been shot in like I think at one point he said he shot it over 2 years, which would make sense following three different people's storylines.
Do you have
two
any
years south.
desire to go watch boxing though?
Uh, I don't know. I
Like
mean, I've
when you
always
watch sports documentaries, does not give you the fire to go watch the sport?
um sometimes it does. I mean, I don't know. It depends on what the sport is, honestly. I mean, boxing it definitely gives me more of an inch to like try to go watch like boxing matches and stuff like that. But I know the thing that's gonna steer me clear of that is just like the prices with that. Like even pay-per-views are like, I mean, the big ones are like $100, to watch for the night. But I mean, I don't know because there's other documentaries that I watch of sports and there's stuff like, I mean, I could watch a basketball documentary and it gives me no desire to watch basketball just because I don't find basketball an interesting sport to watch. I like the
Mm-hmm.
stories and the characters, obviously. Like, I mean, I still need to watch the Michael Jordan doc,
Oh,
because I really,
definitely.
yeah, I just don't have ESPN Plus, so I have to figure out how the fuck I'm gonna watch it. But
Just get ESPN Plus. It's $5 a month.
I already got so much other shit though.
It's $5.
Uh,
You know, like
okay.
I mean, I use again. This is more sports talk from last week, but like,
Mm-hmm.
if you have ESPN Plus, you can watch UFC fight
Mm-hmm.
nights. You have to pay the watch the pay per views, obviously, but
Right.
they have boxing. They have top
Mm-hmm.
ranked boxing. They have a lot of other big boxing matches from the past. They have all the 30 for 30s, obviously. They have Lance. They
Mm-hmm.
got Jordan. They got Dwayne Wade. They got all the fucking things that you want to watch 30 for 30.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of stuff on there, and as a fan of sports, but also sports stories,
Mm-hmm.
is like the $5 a month was worth it.
Okay.
So I didn't like they drop these things a lot. Like I didn't know Lance was already out. I forgot
Yeah.
that was already out.
Well, I knew that. I think because I think Bruce Lee came out right after the Jordan stuff was done, and then I
Mm-hmm.
knew that like
Mm-hmm.
Lance was like pretty soon after that. Like I think Lance aired in like May.
It was May.
Yeah,
You know.
like it's been out, and that was only 2 parts. Also, I think
Yeah, it's
so.
only two parts, and Bruce Lee, like I said, Bruce Lee's one part, but I didn't know that Lance was already out. I thought that it was coming out.
Mm, yeah,
Because I'm halfway through the first episode of Lance.
I know that it's 2 parts, but somebody I think one of my anchors was talking, and he said they're longer episodes. They're like
They're like an hour and a half, hour 45. Yeah.
okay, yeah, it was like 2 hours. I thought he said 3 hours, but I was like, that's way too much. That can't be true.
No,
But yeah,
I think it's like 145 maybe
yeah,
per episode, so 3 hours total. I think.
yeah,
I mean, Last Dance is way longer.
yeah. 10 hours
Um,
at least,
but
right?
also like there's more. I would rather watch 10 hours of Michael Jordan than 10 hours of a dick bicycle rider.
Yeah.
Because like I didn't know that he was such a dick.
Is he? I didn't
He's
know
a
that.
dick, dude. Like he's such
I
a
just
dick.
always knew from the fucking Live Strong shit.
He's such a douchebag. At least from the
Hmm.
beginning. Again, I don't know the man, obviously, but like
Right.
he's very cocky. And in the very
Hmm.
beginning of the documentary, they're talking to people about him who
Hmm.
know him, and then one person says like to the equivalent of like, "Don't worry, he'll sway you to make you to aim the direction of this documentary this way, but don't let him do that because like that's the
Hmm.
kind of he's good at talking and interacting with people, so
Hmm.
he'll like try to say all this stuff to help sway the focus
Hmm.
maybe away from all the steroid use
Hmm.
or whatever it is, but
Yeah.
and I got that vibe very very fast from him talking on camera.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's cool though. I mean, like, especially with someone being such a famous athlete to like
Yeah.
you know
It's weird because
the
I feel like
opposite.
he's one of those people that's like a famous athlete, but like even when he was famous, like people really didn't know much about him. Like they knew who he was and they knew that he was a cyclist, but I feel like nobody really like knew anything about Lance Armstrong like as a person.
Well, the big thing for me was like I didn't know he was doing triathlons when he was 16.
See, I didn't know that
Like
either. I just don't
he was like
Tour de France.
a lot of these guys knew him because when he was 16 he was already crushing them. You know,
Mm,
I didn't know that. I
interesting.
thought he like just was a bike guy and then started doing bike stuff.
Mm,
Um, But yeah, I haven't seen Counterpunch.
Hmm.
But the one you should watch is Fastball.
Fastball. Is that what's that on?
It used to be on Netflix. I'm not sure if it's on Netflix anymore, but it's about
Interesting.
the creation and the evolution of the fastball in baseball,
Okay.
and it's
Interesting.
really
I'll
really
try to look
good.
that one up.
It's
See
really
if I
good.
can find that one.
I think you
Okay.
would like it.
Nice. Yeah, no, I'll try to look that one up then, see if I can find anything about that. The other thing that I watched before we started getting into the similar territory was I watched The Old Guard, the new
Oh yeah,
Charlize
yeah.
Theron movie. It's fine. Uh, I enjoyed it. I mean, it's typical action movie. I like the concept behind it of the fact that they're like, immortal beings that like can't die. And then they basically are like fucking like zombie mercenaries almost. That's pretty dope. The action choreography for the action was really, really solid. I liked it a lot. Not a lot of choppy editing. There's a lot of wide angle
Hmm.
action. You can tell that like I don't know. I haven't watched too many of her other action movies. Like I haven't seen Atomic Blonde, but I mean, they definitely like gave her and the other actors room to like do their shit and like
Yeah.
not trying to like obscure and hide stuff, which I appreciate a lot when it comes to an action movie. So yeah, I watched that. It was fun little ride.
I thought about watching it, but ultimately I came to the conclusion that I just don't care enough. It didn't look. I didn't have. It didn't look good or bad. I didn't like. I
See,
keep
I didn't
seeing trailers
see.
on it.
See, I didn't even see any trailer on it. I'd seen like a couple of clips here and there from like YouTube or just like from Netflix, but like the only thing that I really saw was that like she was in it. I saw
Hmm.
that they used melee weapons, which they don't use enough, which was disappointing. Like she has that fucking sick-looking axe, and she like barely uses it, which was the most probably disappointing part. I mean, it's a part of there's the point where I mean they're all super old. Like she's from like fucking pre like Genghis Khan time, and then you've got two of the other guys who are like fucking crusaders, and then the other guy was like from the he was like I think he was like French Revolution or something like that. And so like the her and the two crusaders have like actual like swords and axes and shit that they like wield around, and they like barely ever use them. It was super disappointing. That was the most disappointing part. I thought there was going to be more like, I mean, if you're going to show like the axe in the title card, I thought there was going to be more actual like physical
Right. Right.
action to it. But it was a lot. It was a lot more gunplay. Which I mean, I get with they introduced the new girl to kind of, expedition jump to explain the world and move the plot along. And she's just a marine, so obviously there's a lot more gunplay with her. But I don't know. Overall, I just kind of wanted more physical action than gunplay action. But
Well, it's also just easier to teach actors.
yeah, it's true.
Just like point it in direction, and we'll take care of the rest.
Yeah,
We don't have to worry about like Chris Hemsworth. 7-minute fight scene or whatever the fuck from
yeah.
what was it called? Extraction.
Extraction. Yeah.
You know, they're not gonna put Charlize Theron through John Wick training.
No, no,
They'll give
not.
her a crash
She
course
probably
and some
wouldn't want to
stuff.
do John Wick training. So
Well, even if she wanted to, I mean, like, I don't think she's good enough athletically to do it. Like
yeah, I don't
even in
know.
the fight scenes of Atomic Blonde, like it's a cool movie that just were kind of boring.
Hmm.
You know,
Interesting. Yeah, I
and
haven't watched that one yet, but
it goes back to the same thing with John Wick, where Keanu Reeves is a tall guy, he's an old guy.
hmm
So if he did anything other than judo, it would look really bad. But
yeah,
judo is like slow enough and deliberate enough to throw people that it makes sense. But if
hmm
they wanted to have John Wick be like a Ong Bak,
yeah,
I'd be like, okay, well, that's not believable because John Wick moves very like
yeah.
slow, like they're trying to show power. You know,
You couldn't have him be like a
you
Tony Jaa
you
or
couldn't
anything
have him
like
be
that.
Tony Jaa like, throwing knees. It would be like,
Yeah,
okay, Keanu, you're
yeah,
you're you're 56 years old or whatever the hell you are. You ain't
yeah.
throwing knees, buddy. You know what I mean? Um, I don't know. I might watch it. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, overall, it was a fun action movie, fun little joint. I didn't really have I didn't have any major complaints about it. I was just overall just wanted to see a little bit more of the, stuff that I like. But I mean, for what it was an enjoyable little action movie.
Cool.
Um, Not too long either. I think it was under 2 hours. So,
There's
you
definitely
know.
going to be a sequel, right?
Uh, I mean, they set up for one, but I mean, honestly, I'm not itching for one, and I don't know how big it is. I don't know how many, because I didn't really hear anybody, talking about it. I didn't see the buzz around it that I saw around like, Extraction or anything like that.
I
Um,
think it's been streaming a lot.
has it?
I
Interesting.
feel like I
Okay.
saw a couple articles about how it was some top streaming. I don't know for sure, but I
Interesting.
thought I saw that.
Okay. Hmm. Well, I mean, if they got one, then, I mean, I could totally see them going back into that world. And, yeah, I mean, they set one up pretty deliberately. So, um,
But you can really
I
do it.
wouldn't mind.
You can flash forward 100 years, flash back 100 years. You can do it since they're immortal. You can really technically do it whenever they want, right?
Yeah, basically. I mean,
So
they kind of set up a deliberate. It's kind of weird how deliberately they set up like an actual timeline when it goes into like the next thing, because the way the whole thing ends is that one of the guys basically ends up being exiled from the group for 100 years because they can't have any other way to punish him except to. They're just like you have to be by yourself because something about time and how it makes you super lonely when you're immortal
yeah,
and all the blah blah blah. But they say he has to be alone by himself for 100 years, and then they'll come meet him back up, and he can join the group again. And there's another teaser at the end of that where it's like, oh, in the 100 years, shit's about to go down. So,
there
um,
you go.
yeah, but yeah, so that was not too bad. And probably the last thing before we start getting into the similar stuff was I finished book 2 of Dresden,
Right. Yeah.
Full Moon.
Full moon.
Um, I I don't think I liked it as much as the first book.
Absolutely.
Um, I still like Dresden. I like where his character's going.
Hmm.
I like. I think I hated it at some point. I mean, it kind of like wrapped it all up in the end, but like halfway through the book, I started to hate Murph for a little
Yeah.
bit
Yeah.
because she was being like
She's
super
because
super picky.
she's not
What?
a believer yet.
Well, it's not even that she's not a believer. It's just that like she doesn't.
She's
I
very
mean,
self righteous.
I get why she doesn't trust Harry, but
Yep.
like her complete lack of trust in Harry at all, the like,
Hmm.
especially when it gets to the point where it's like the werewolf stuff happens and there's a tenuous connection to fucking Harry, and then all of a sudden she's like, "All right, I'm fucking arresting you. You obviously
Hmm.
murdered these people. Fuck you. You're going to jail." And he's like, "What the fuck?" And then she fucking shot him in the end. She didn't really shoot him, but I mean, at that point, I was like, yeah, she totally fucking shot him. Like, I was
Hmm.
with Dresden, and then she's like, I can't believe you thought I shot you. And I was like, I thought you fucking shot him. Like, the way you've been
That's
acting for the
hey.
past 400 pages, like, how the fuck would you not think that
So
that you shot
so
him?
while you is that not good writing from Jim Butcher?
I don't know.
To like I mean like think about it, right? Like I
Mm.
again to me that's the weakest book of the whole series. I think a lot of people who like Dresden would agree that Full Moon is the weakest of the entire lineup.
I like the concept behind it. I like the werewolf stuff. I like the wolf pelts, the Hexen wolf. I mean, I like where he's going with a lot of the characters, especially with Dresden, and I like the setting up, especially with the demon where he's setting up the stuff with his parents and the backstory and all that. And I like that he's definitely has a plan for that of how he's going to
Hmm.
dig into that further later on. I liked the stuff between. I especially liked. I mean, she was a character, but she was kind of a non-character in the first book. But I kind of like where he's taking Susan and where he's
Hmm.
going with that, her relationship with Harry, and digging her deeper into this world of the supernatural, and her being, basically the National Enquirer reporter,
Right.
digging deeper into that world. I find really, really interesting. Um, I don't know how. I think the biggest if marks for me was, I mean, I can tell he tried to wrap it up in the end, but I still don't. I still didn't like his writing for Murph for the entire book, and I still don't know what the fuck he's trying to do with Johnny McCrone. Like, I have no idea what the fuck any of that shit is. I don't,
Hmm.
with the fact that he can like stare into Harry's soul, and like for some reason he's the only one that's like not phased by the whatever sort of dark shit Harry has in his fucking eyes that like made Denton fucking do a double take. A fucking Hexen wolf
Well,
was like cowering in
it's
fear.
because they soul gazed.
Yeah, No, but I mean, everybody else that soul gazes Harry like fucking has like an intense reaction to like whatever is in his soul, and
Oh,
Macron's the only one
it's
that like
only because from my interpretation of that, from when I read that book, was that, well, Harry has a really hard life,
hmm
so if people will turn away from that because of what has happened in his life,
hmm
well, that makes you think, okay, well, what has Marcone done?
That's
You know,
fair.
I mean,
Yeah.
like what he also had clearly has had to have some shit for him to like
Yeah.
still look at Harry in the eyes and be like, what? But also, it's the kind of
Yeah.
character that he is. He's supposed to be a tough mafioso kind of character,
Yeah.
and they build him up as well. So don't like everyone that you question or have thoughts on now.
hmm
If they don't die, they get built up in
I
different
thought
ways.
half of them were gonna die in this fucking book. Like I thought for sure that Johnny Macron was gonna fucking die. I was like, all right, well, this is a nice two little book arc for you, but like
I think it's
there will be
funny
some
that
other
you
gangster.
pronounce it that way
I don't even remember how it's spelled.
because it's Marcone. I
I don't know why, but I've read it as Macrone.
I
Macron.
don't know how it's pronounced because I never have heard anyone say it. Literally when I'm reading the books and he comes up,
hmm
I will go Marcone or Marconi. I will pronounce it either way in my mind. I
Okay.
don't know what's the right way. I've never heard anyone say it. I've never heard Butcher say it. So I just go either way.
Interesting. Okay.
Or is it Marchone? Like I don't know.
Oh, it could be. I feel like it's leaning more towards the Italian, so
Yeah,
I feel like
that's right.
Marconi is probably better, more suited for it.
But
But
yeah, Full Moon is definitely the weakest of the books. And then
yeah,
that's why I keep saying to you, and that's why Butcher says to start at book three. But I really think that one and two give you a good character.
yeah. I don't know if I could. I don't think I would have appreciated as much if I started at book
Well,
three. I mean, especially just
I
Dresden in general. I think his
that
journey.
when you start book three, hopefully after this podcast is over, when you start Grave Peril,
hmm
the level of like the jump in quality is immediately noticeable between Full Moon and book three. Like when I
hmm
read book one and two at a slower, fine pace. Like I read them both. I was like, I read book one. It's like okay, that was good. I'll take some time off. You know, a couple weeks. Read book two. Take a couple weeks
hmm
off. Read book three. And then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 were like
Damn. All right.
I slammed them because from book three onward, it becomes a wizard story. There's still mystery.
Okay.
I keep saying it all the time for 3 weeks up in a row. It's mystery, yes, but you get so much more world building from
Okay.
book three, and just the
I mean,
quality
even
of
this
writing.
one was not as much mystery as it was more of a wizarding story. I mean, the first one was much more of a noir. This one
Oh
was
yeah,
clearly more of like the supernatural.
hmm
This one felt more like a supernatural episode.
yeah,
So, I mean, if that's where it's
absolutely.
going, I'm fine with that because I enjoyed the plot of this book. I enjoyed the
Well, I
setup. I
would say
enjoyed.
from book three on to
hmm
where I just finished Peace Talks.
hmm
He has a plan for all the books.
hmm
But from book three, you start to see threads more so than in book one and two.
Okay.
Like you start seeing in every book after the book that you just read, you
hmm
see immediate results or consequences or whatever of what happened in the prior book.
Okay.
You know, because each book's supposed to be like Jim Butcher says, it's like Dresden's worst weekend of the year or whatever,
Yeah.
and it's roughly about the same time. So you know, we age with him as every a book is usually once a year.
That's the other thing
So
about this was that like, I mean, even more so in the first book is that he's just so fucking beat up and dead and
mm-hmm.
like basically a fucking corpse walking around by the end of this book.
Yeah.
He has no magic, which I was like, that was a surprising twist to me. There was like, yeah, you can like mentally, because it's not
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is physical, but it's like, I mean, the way he talks about it is much more like emotional and mental, that you can just like mentally exhaust your
Yeah.
magic,
Yeah.
which is fucking terrifying.
Like
So
if you have to be confident in your magic, because if you don't,
yeah.
it could you can lose control of whatever's happening. You know,
Mm,
he really builds a limitless but also very rule set magic system. Like
hmm
there are defined rules in the Dresden magic system, but at
hmm
the same time, you could really do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
You can just be like, oh, that person has this or whatever, because it's not based on like mana reserves or whatever the fuck, you know.
Right. Yeah. It's
But
just
it's
based on like
also not Lord of the
emotional.
Rings magic
Yeah.
where Lord of the
Yeah.
Rings magic is just Gandalf has everything, you
Yeah.
know. It's not that, but it's also not linear, very much like hard rule set where it's like, okay, like
Yeah.
in Lightbringer, okay, well, I can't see this spectrum of light, so I can't use magic. Like, that's
Yeah.
not how it works. Like, in Dresden, you can really do, he can do whatever he wants,
Mm-hmm.
but there are certain rule sets in him, like in the
Yeah.
universe, that bind it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but, and just to continue on Dresden, I
Mm-hmm.
won't spoil anything about Peace Talks, even though I know this is my part of
Mm-hmm.
the show. But I got Peace Talks on Tuesday, which is when it came
Mm-hmm.
out. I was finished the next morning,
Damn. All right.
nonstop reading. Pretty much, I read all at work, read at home, and I was done. And
Damn.
it was very great. It's a very,
Okay.
very, very great book. The ending sucks. The
Damn.
ending is sucky in the sense that it was clear that the book, because Battlegrounds, the next book, and this book were originally one book, and they
Mm.
split it up because the book was too long. I almost wish they didn't do that because
Okay.
the ending kind of feels abrupt, and I feel like they could have continued on. I would have been very much happy.
So this is the first part of a story, basically. The one
It's
that you just read.
almost right. Like it's almost like
Okay.
a two-parter is what it
Okay.
seems like. Now Butcher writes certain things. He has rules to his novels. Like
Mm-hmm.
I can't give you the exact thing, but like every like third book is a big story or something like that, or every
Okay.
fifth book's about a certain type of character. He has a rule set, but I can't remember the exact pattern that he
Okay.
has. But a lot of shit happens in this book. We see a lot of characters that we've seen in former books and prior books. So for
Okay.
me, for me having the 6 year wait was like a big like you know what's the
Mm-hmm.
word, like a fan service almost. It's like oh
Okay.
yeah, okay, yeah, you.
Interesting.
So you see a
So it
lot.
pulls a lot on your knowledge from previous books into
Oh,
this
absolutely.
one.
Like if you read this book right now, Zach, you'd be like, what the fuck is going on? You would have literally no clue. Like if you read Stormfront and then read
Mm-hmm.
Peace Talks, first off, you'd be like, holy shit, how the fuck is Harry this fucking strong? You'd
Right.
be like, fucking Harry's a super saiyan in this book. You'd be like, oh, god damn, you know what I mean? And then you would also have
Damn.
no
All right.
idea because every character that you know in the first book to book 5 is different. It's not the same person anymore because
Okay.
it's been 20 years.
Right.
Because Harry's 45.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And but Stormfront, he's 26.
Yeah.
So he's 40 some years old, and he's not in the same place anymore. And
Okay.
before I stop talking about Peace Talks, besides the fact that it's very good, I hope that you get to the point where you can read it and enjoy it,
Yeah.
Zach.
Well, I have the book 3 and 4 in the mail, so
There you go.
starting in one.
I think you're going to really enjoy those books a lot because you start
Mm-hmm.
getting more of the other realm. Because at first I thought that Dresden was going to be just vampires, werewolves, and with magic and like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But you start getting more of the classic. It's literally take traditional fantasy,
Mm-hmm.
modern.
Okay.
It's not like it's supposed to be like supernatural to show. Like there's
Yeah.
elements of that, yes, but it
Mm-hmm.
really is a fantasy setting
Mm-hmm.
in today. That's all it is,
Okay.
really. So you start seeing
Interesting.
parallels to all those traditional fantasy tropes. You'll see that immediately in book 3. Um,
Okay.
but but with Peace Talks at book 15 or 16, whatever this is, I think 15, I think,
Mm-hmm.
or 16. There is so much. I've been describing this to my girlfriend because I've been reading these books again, and she's there next to me when I'm reading them, and I'm getting so frustrated. Like I'm like, ugh. Not because they're bad, but because I'm at the point in he wants this series to be 25 books.
Wow.
So
Okay.
there's 10 more years of Dresden supposedly, or 9 more
Wow.
years or whatever, or however many more years. 8, 9,
However
10.
long it takes him. Yeah.
Yeah.
10 more books at least.
So
Wow.
if that's the case, and if that's the correct number still of 25 books being the full length of the Dresden series, which I believe is still the correct number, I could be
Mm-hmm.
wrong. That means that you're in the beginning phase It
Mm-hmm.
means that I'm in Empire Strikes Back, right?
Okay.
And it definitely feels that way. I'm not
Okay.
gonna say why, but it it's a
He's
bummer.
at that lowest point.
It's
Yeah.
and it's weird because he's not weak.
Yeah.
He's not a weakling character. He is the wolf,
Mm-hmm.
but everything in his life is just not what you're at.
Okay.
And if
Interesting.
you read them fast, like in a row, you're gonna be like, oh my god, what the fuck is happening to Harry's life?
Yeah.
So I'll leave it at that. But
Well, it's like I got jump started by that even a little bit because even in this book, I mean, you talk about the fact that it takes place in real time, and then they talk about the fact that I mean, he specifically makes references to like the first book and the fact that that only happened like I think in his world, book one happens only like a couple of months before book two
yeah,
or something like that. Like I think that happened in like the spring, and this takes place in like the fall or something like that. But um, but yeah, so even that I got whiplash. I was like, oh yeah, fuck, it's already been like that much time has passed since like the first book
and
that I read.
and in real life, he wrote the first like 4 books before they started getting published.
Okay.
Because for a little bit, he was doing
So
two
all that
books a
time period
year.
is pretty rapid for the first
Yeah, for the
four.
first, then it becomes steadily a year, from what I
Okay.
believe. Um, so that's Dresden.
Okay. Yeah.
Again, I hope you read Grave Peril. I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean it's in the mail. I think it's supposed to show up tomorrow, so I'm excited. I know that it has I read a little bit of the synopsis on Amazon. I know it has something to do with ghosts, so I'm happy for that. Get some
Yeah,
ghosties, get some Scooby Doo shit. I'm happy
yeah,
for it.
dude, it is. Again, real quick before we move on, I hate to talk about Dresden so much, but I love Dresden so much. It's my favorite series of all time.
Yeah, I mean I'm digging it,
It
so I'm down to talk about it.
Grave Peril is the book that makes you go, this guy has something, man. Like I see it before. I saw it in Stormfront. I like the character at Full Moon.
Hmm.
But Grave Peril, you go, holy shit.
Okay.
This is where Dresden becomes Dresden.
I'm excited to dig into it
So,
for sure.
yeah.
I'm gonna have to make time for it because I got a lot of stuff going on because we got that and then we got Ghost of Tsushima that I'm trying to fucking get through too. Because that's gonna be a fucking big time. I don't know. I mean, I feel like I've got a pretty good schedule right now where I try to read about just trying to so that I don't burn myself out. I usually try to read to about 80 to 100 pages a day.
Right.
And I mean, the first two books, I don't know how much longer they get later on, but I mean, his first two books were around like 350 to 400 pages. So I mean, I did that. I don't think I read the first one quite that fast, but I mean, this one I read it, I read it 100 pages. Yeah, it was like over 4 days. I think I took like one break in between, so it took me like 5 days to read it. But I mean, I read
Yeah.
like, like 80 to 100 pages, and I was like, let's do it like that. Zip, zap, zap. It was good though. I was down for it. Um, yeah, I just don't like it as much as the first one. Just for the reasons that were already stated. But
Yeah.
I like a lot of the ideas that were brought up. I think the thing that frustrated me the most about it was character choices. Not necessarily like the plot or like what was going on with like the main supernatural threat or anything like that, but just
No, it's
simply
Murphy.
yeah, it was simply character
It's
choices and
Murphy.
the way that characters acted. Yeah, yeah, that was the biggest thing. So
Because you're not wrong. I felt the same way reading that book.
yeah.
I felt the same way reading Full Moon.
Mm.
Um, but it gets better.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I mean, it seems like,
And then
after
worse.
this one, I mean, he kind of, bandaged the wound and it seemed like they're back in like a more even place. So, I'm excited to dig into book three and see where we go from there. Yeah. So that was that. Ghost of Tsushima. I don't know how much you want to talk about that, but I guess before we do that, there was another thing that I think we both watched.
Sure.
Psych 2, the movie.
Yes.
Lassie's back. Lassie
Yep.
Come Home, I believe is what it's called.
Lassie Come Home. Yeah.
Lassie Comes Home, or Come Home Comes Home.
I think it's Come
One,
Home.
two.
Yeah.
Watch that on Thursday. Day it came out. It was a lot better than the first movie.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I thought Psych 2 was more of a elongated Psych episode
Yes, that's what it felt.
than Psych 1 was. I think Psych 1 was like, we don't really know what to do.
Yeah.
There's some elements of Psych in here, whereas Psych 2 is like, this is an episode of Psych.
Yeah, this is episode of Psych. I mean, there's there's definitely parallels to the first movie that they kind of bring up in the second one. Specifically, I guess that if they do another movie, I assume that the running joke now is that they're going to have some weird hallucination where Sean sees Mary for some reason.
Yeah.
Which I'm fine with. I mean, I enjoy Merrick as a character. I like him showing up, so that's fine. He showed up as a baby, which was fucking hilarious. But that was fine. But yeah, it just felt like just a giant Psych episode, which I think was what was kind of missing from the first movie. The first movie kind of felt like a season finale almost, just with like tying back to like the Yin Yang Killer and like all that kind of stuff. But it was like, I don't know. I just felt like they tried to do too. I don't know if I'm thinking that they either tried to do too much or too little in the first movie, but there was just something.
It was too
missing.
Not connected.
Yeah. But everything about this felt right. I mean, you have the great moments between Sean and his dad that made me fucking cry. When you thought that Sean was going to be a dad, you have that really good heart to heart between Corbin Burnson and James Roday talking about
hold on,
him raising him as a father.
Sorry, you have to correct yourself.
I'm sorry, you're right. Sean and
not even that. No, not even that. It's not James. It's not James Roday anymore.
Who is it? Wait, what's his name?
He has officially gone to his real name.
Okay, wait, hold on. What's his real name?
James Rodriguez.
Oh my god.
So he came out in a big article. I'm not joking, and it made me kind of like, all right, dude.
You know what? I'm here for it, James Rodriguez.
He made an article. He wrote, it was whatever being interviewed. He was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go back to my real name, not my stage name. When I was breaking in, I couldn't get jobs because I didn't look enough like I was a Mexican guy. So I went by Roday. But now in this climate, I'm like, you're trying to be safe to not get fucking canceled, dude. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get some street cred with your last name, brother.
Yeah. That's kind of weird.
I think it's a really good movie.
Yeah.
All the things I like about Psych are in it.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me about this one was just the chemistry just felt a lot better.
Oh yeah,
I don't know.
It felt a lot better.
I mean, Sean and Gus are still Sean and Gus, but I just feel like everything with Jules felt better. You mean the captain was just like not kind of like a minor character like she kind of was in the first movie. I mean, obviously you have the stuff with their daughter kind of, but like really that gets brushed off until like the last 10 minutes of the first movie. But I mean, I just feel like everybody had a bigger part, which I think I enjoyed a lot more. I mean, there's just a lot more stuff with Henry's dad. Obviously, Lassie has a bigger part.
I'm guessing he's not teaching anymore. I mean, like, what the fuck's he doing? He's just renting out his fucking
I guess
the
he's
office
just renting
space
his office now. I guess he was done teaching. That lasted all of one episode.
How did you feel? How did you feel about Timothy Mudson's acting in the movie?
I mean, it's not the same. Clearly, it still felt like there was still something from the stroke that was like,
100%
affecting him. But I think overall, I mean, it was much better than the first movie on the call. But it still didn't feel like exactly the same Lassie until that last 2 minutes. That last 2 minutes had me in tears.
To me, it obviously, I'm not gonna like harp too much on it because the dude had a real life stroke.
Yeah.
So I mean, and even then, he's still acting better than probably 85% of people who are in TV shows.
Yeah.
But he just didn't look well.
No, he definitely didn't look well.
He had his face was a little chubbier because he had a fucking stroke. I get it, you know. But the lines were delivered fine, but they didn't have that extra.
They didn't have that Lassie edge to it.
Yeah,
but
and in terms of commenting on the acting, it just didn't have that same quickness or snappiness that Carlton usually has.
Yeah.
I do think it was really smart of them to add in the script. Not only did he get shot, but he had a stroke in surgery. To me, that made it's like, okay, cool. We're going to cover our bases here, so everyone understands that this is why, more so than just being shot. The twist at the end. I mean, I mile away saw it coming.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't really see it coming just because I kind of just wrote her off as a character in general. And so I kind of even forgot about her until she would show back up, and then I
Yeah.
was like, oh yeah, I forgot that she kept being in this. Um, I mean, I don't know. I was kind of convinced it was the Doctor just with the paint chips and everything, but
Well, they were like
plus
going.
he was that extra creepy factor, which they
But
always
they
kinda
were
lean
like doing
towards.
that red herring shits. They were like pushing that
Yeah,
shit so hard,
they did push that shit really hard.
you
That's for
know.
sure.
And I mean, there were definitely good. I still don't like his girlfriend character at all.
Yeah, I didn't like that at all. I mean, I like the growth. I mean, not the growth for him, because Gus still hasn't really grown as a character, but he's gonna be a fucking dad, which I love. Gus the
Yeah,
dad is
I
great.
don't know if I care.
Oh, you don't care about little Bert and
I
Gus?
kind of wish it was just Sean's kid.
Ugh. Yeah, I kind of wish they were both dads. That's what I want. Because I mean, honestly, the way they are as characters, it would make sense that they both became dads at the same time, and they
Yeah.
both ended up going through fatherhood together. Because that would just make sense for them as characters.
Yeah, I don't know. Also, I feel like there's not enough. The one thing that's missing from these movies so far is a clear like reference to the 90s or 80s.
Yeah, that's true. There wasn't really any references like that.
But they reference themselves with like obviously the Come On Sons, and then
Yeah.
they reference like in the
Yeah,
beginning
they
of the,
did. Yeah, they leaned really hard into the Psych
which I
touchstones,
get, which is
which
perfectly
is fine.
fine.
I
But
mean, they
see,
hit everything.
but see,
Except
they don't reference
they didn't hit
80s.
stuff.
They don't reference the 80s stuff. They don't reference 90s
Yeah,
stuff. They don't bring in like that kind of psych element, the pop culture stuff.
yeah,
Except they'll clearly reference James Roday's other show
yeah. I saw that. Yeah, where
and
they were
be
talking
like,
about what
"This
was
is
it? They were
us."
talking
There's a
about
show on there's a show on ABC that's so much
yeah,
better
his
and
it's
newer
like
or whatever.
yeah his ABC show that he's on. Yeah, he's like it's there's a show going on at the same time that's way better.
It's way and brand and new or something
Yeah,
like that.
something like that. Yeah, that was good. But yeah, I mean they got all the Psych references there. That was nice. They did the point, which was nice to see. They did the Come On Son.
Come
They
on,
didn't do
son.
Suck It.
They
They
didn't do
didn't do
suck
Suck
it. They didn't do suck it.
It.
They
So
did.
that was disappointing. But they did that. They did what were the
Wait,
other?
they did wait for it, didn't they?
No, they didn't do Wait For It. I don't remember a Wait For
They
It.
didn't
Do
do
you?
it when they first met the doctor. They're eating the ice chips, and he was walking away.
He did. That's right.
They
He
didn't do
did do a
wait
Wait
for
For It. Yeah.
it, and then they went back to
Yeah.
start eating again.
That's true. Yeah, they did do a Wait For It.
Okay.
I mean, they did Gus, being a foodaholic, which is nice.
Yeah.
Um,
The nicknames, obviously.
nicknames are good. I mean, they hit the same thing that they've been going in, but that was still like they were on the same bit with that they've been on since season 8, which was that Gus doesn't like the nicknames that Sean gives him, and so I feel like this is the second time I've seen them cut this deal where Gus has to pick,
Yeah,
or
approve.
Gus gets say so on whether the nickname goes or not.
Yeah.
I feel like that was a bit that I'd already seen before, but it was still nice to see. I love the nicknames, so that's always great. Um, I do really love that his dad turned his office into like a fucking rental space.
A hipster
Yeah.
startup pop up.
Mm-hmm.
So cool. All right. Well, what is next on your list?
The only thing left is Ghosts. Ghosts
Yeah.
of Tsushima. I mean, I don't have too much to talk about it yet, except that it's a gorgeous game. I've been playing it for, I think I've played it for about 5 or 6 hours at this point. I've done the first couple of story missions. I recruited my first 2 allies.
Mm-hmm.
Did the first part of rescuing the blacksmith. Did a couple of the mini missions. I like it so far. I like the combat system. It feels very Assassin's Creed to me, but I don't mind the Assassin's Creed combat style. It feels like a mix between like Neo and Assassin's Creed, with the heavy emphasis on counters, and then the getting into the different stances stuff, which I haven't got to yet, but like the switching between stances on the fly is very Neo.
Mm-hmm.
And then the heavy emphasis on counters and the strong and heavy stuff is very Assassin's Creed. It has the same problem I have with Assassin's Creed, which is that I wish I like the assassinations are one-hit kills, which is nice. because that's the one thing I hate about Odyssey. But I wish the bow was stronger. Maybe it gets stronger later on, but for right now, it seems a little. My half bow seems a little underpowered, but I assume that I think there's a long bow that you get later on, so I'm sure that one's probably like a one-hit kill.
I know
But
right
yeah,
now I'm about the same place. I just did the first blacksmith mission where you don't find them.
yeah.
I,
I think
I
the next one I have is I'm going to start tracking down the Ronin. That's like my next objective that I'm
right.
going towards.
I didn't do that one. I did. So I'm at the same place. Like I said, I did the first. Oh, right after I did the blacksmith mission, I was heading towards to do the hot spring one or
Yeah.
something. I
The
don't
hot spring
remember.
one is the archer.
I don't remember which one. Oh, I was gonna go do the next mission of the archer guy.
Yeah.
I was gonna go do the next one of him.
Yeah, I was thinking about I was probably gonna do I think I'm probably gonna shoot for the next one. I'll probably get to where the Ronin are. I'll probably do the Ronin, and then I'll probably go back and do the part twos of the
Mhm.
Archer and then the Lady Samurai.
Yeah, I so I think the game.
Also, that do you see that shit? Those shits are 9-part missions. I was like, holy
Yeah,
fuck.
I think that the game looks great. I think it
Yeah,
feels good.
feels good to explore, which is nice. I think that's probably
Yeah,
the
the,
biggest thing.
the environments are cool looking and nice and pretty.
Hmm.
Um, I do have some things I want to say though.
Okay.
I still am very let down that this game's open world. I
Okay.
really am. I was really hoping it would have been more of a linear story based game.
Hmm.
Um, even in the way of like Uncharted or something
Mm.
like that, heavy focus on story, because this
Yeah, I mean,
is
I could
not
see that,
that.
but also knowing what Sucker Punch does, I don't see that because I mean, all their games, even going back to like Sly Cooper, their games have always been open world, emphasis on open world and getting to the next mission. That's just kind of how they roll with their game structure. I would like to see them do something a little bit different because at this point, it's like, yeah,
Well,
all of
at
their
this
games.
point, there's too many open world games that exist that all
Yeah,
have the same like I knew how to play this game before I even plugged it in. I was like, okay, boop,
yeah,
open the map, fucking got it. Side mission, okay,
yeah,
gotcha. Get some points here. Same. It's Assassin's Creed.
yeah,
It's Assassin's Creed, and that's not a good or bad thing. It's just a thing,
yeah,
But as someone who hasn't finished an Assassin's Creed game ever, that makes me go, maybe I would have had a God of War RPG instead.
I think a God of War probably would have done better for this type of game. I think
Because
it would have
God of
been more
War
enjoyable.
it's
Yeah,
open, but it's also linear.
yeah,
Like they give you options, but if you want to run through a part, it's still going to be a forward progressing thing for the most part.
yeah,
And you can still have your upgraded skill sets and weapons, but this is Assassin's Creed.
yeah.
It's literally Odyssey, but with samurais.
Hmm.
I'm not climbing as much stuff, but I
Yeah,
do have the same skill trees and the skill abilities and that kind of jazz.
yeah.
Um, with that being said, I think the story is so far is kind of
Not a fan.
fine.
Yeah,
Like I think they really had an opportunity to come in here and make a really deep emotional samurai story, but I think the idea where I'm at right now, so far in the game, obviously still very early on, the
yeah,
idea that he is having a battle with his code
yeah,
doesn't resonate enough with me. It doesn't really mean much because immediately after I have a flashback of me learning a code, I go and I stab someone in the neck. So
yeah.
I'm really, to me,
It
it doesn't
feels
really make
very,
sense.
yeah,
It's
it
very
feels very mixed
superficial.
message.
It's very
Yeah,
superficial, cheap way of having conflict internally of a character who so
yeah,
far seems very boring. And if
yeah,
they're gonna dive in with the whole idea of like samurai have control emotions, then keep it that way. Like just
yeah,
go with that and roll with it, and have him be dropping dudes with no emotion,
yeah. I think
or
it feels very strange. It feels like they're trying to put. It just feels like they're trying to put like they're trying to have all their eggs in two different baskets, and I feel like you can't do that. I don't
yeah,
know. It feels like they're trying to split the baby,
but
where
also
they want to have the Assassin's Creed stuff, but then they also want to have the traditional samurai standoff. And I don't know. I definitely am at the same wavelength where you're coming from, where it's like it feels weird to have this flashback where you're talking about like, you know, only cowards kill people in the shadows
Yeah.
immediately, but immediately afterwards I'm like assassinating some guy and like going through a whole camp stealthily taking everybody out. I don't
Right.
know.
Or even with like, okay, so I'm a samurai, and I have this code of not killing people from whatever,
Mm.
yet when I get my first bow, the whole mission is blowing up barrels and killing people with the bow.
Yeah.
That seems to be already counterproductive to the samurai code, is it not? I'm like
I
story
feel like it's
wise.
counterproductive to his code in particular because I feel like because I mean the archer guy's still a samurai,
No,
but
exactly.
he's the one who teaches them this, and so
Right.
I feel like it's weird because I feel like the code that he's living up to, the code that so far it seems like his uncle has instilled in him is like way more strict than like what
Sure.
other samurai go under, and it feels very weird that like he's the only one that is living by this like uber strict code that has like no
Yeah.
bend, but then also immediately he's like willing to
Willing to
bend it.
immediately bends it.
Yeah,
So like in terms of progressing gameplay, I get it, but in
yeah,
terms of making a well crafted story, stupid. It's just dumb.
yeah,
And maybe if there was more internal conflict to have Jin go through something, but he's so willing to just okay, I gotta do what I gotta do right
yeah,
away. Well, then that should have been your plan when you try to fight the guy the first time on the bridge. Also, real
yeah,
quick, I don't like dying twice. Like fake dying
yeah,
twice is stupid.
yeah. That was really too. It was too fast because yeah, it was like you fake die on the beach and then you immediately fake die again when you get pushed off a fucking.
Like
Well,
you,
then you don't even fake die because then the manga guy in that flashback is like he's not dead, so it's like clearly they know that he didn't
right?
fucking die.
But you should have had Jin try to save his uncle the first time on the
Yeah,
beach and had that whole scene happen there.
yeah, that would have made more sense.
Like he tries to fight him, gets his ass kicked, and then wakes up with the fucking flowers and the sword. And that would have been way better, saved you some fucking time,
Yeah.
instead of having to fucking meet this lady, lose your armor. That whole opening scene was bad.
Yeah, the whole shit from going through the village and yeah, having to like collect your armor and collect your sword was yeah, it felt
That,
really pointless.
and I mean, and I upgraded my sword one time, so I have an
I
upgrade.
still haven't upgraded my yet.
I have level
I
two
upgraded my
sword,
bow. Yeah,
level two sword.
I customized my sword. I think it looks sick as fuck. I gave it the snow demon eyes
How do you
one.
do
I don't know
that?
the all white one with the gold. You go to the merchants and then as long as you have enough flowers, as long as you've collected enough flowers, you can get the different dyes. So you can use the dyes, you know, for you can get hats too, but you can use
So
the
you have to
different
go.
dyes
You
for
have to
like
go to the merchant for
hats.
that.
You have to go to the actual merchant, yeah.
Where in the Golden Temple or like where are they at?
There's a couple throughout. There's usually one at any of the survivor camps that you come
Okay.
across. There's there's one at the temple along with the armor, and I haven't seen a blacksmith yet, so I can't even upgrade my shit.
Oh, you
Uh,
go to the Golden Temple. There's a blacksmith there.
is there? Okay.
Yeah, or
Because
there's
I
a
just
sword.
came
There's a
from the Golden
swordsmith at
Temple
least.
because I've got level 2 armor because
I think.
I got the samurai armor and then I upgraded that, so I have level 2 samurai armor, which is nice.
See, I don't.
Um,
I have level one everything else except for sword.
I wish you could change the way, like, even if you upgrade it, I wish you could, like, make it look, because I like the way that the samurai armor looks in the first shit, where it's, like, very minimalized. Because I know if I upgrade it all the way, which I want to do because you want to get the most benefits, I don't like the way it looks, where it's, like, and maybe that's just, like, I'm a fan of, like, minimalist samurai, but I don't like the super heavy war armor with, like, the whole face and, like, the giant crescent and all that shit. I mean, it looks dope, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to run around in that the whole time. I'd rather run around in like the like half samurai, half assassin kind of thing. I like that look kind of
So
better.
right now, all I have is the blue one.
The first outfit you get.
The
So you
second
haven't
one.
done the? Have you done the lady samurai? Because you should get the samurai
Yeah,
armor.
I have hers, the blue one,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I
and then
upgraded that.
I have that. That's the only one I have, and then I have the mask,
Mm.
and then
I haven't got the mask yet.
I have the mask, and then everything else I have. All my
Did
other.
you get the mask? When did you get the mask?
Oh man, I think I.
Because I haven't
It's
got
the
the mask.
gift. It's a gift from the Golden Temple.
Hmm.
Go back to the Golden Temple. Talk
I'll
to
have to
the.
go back.
There's a guy on the right by a tree, and it's a gift that they
Interesting.
collect donations for. And I believe that's where I got the mask from.
Interesting. Okay, I'll have to go back through there because yeah, I didn't get the mask. I thought it was like I just hadn't looked for it because I assumed it was like the samurai armor and the bow and all that other stuff that it would just be a mission reward at some point.
I'm pretty sure I got it from the gift, and then like right where you meet Sogen,
Mm-hmm.
right next to that guy is like the gift guy.
Interesting. Okay.
I believe that's where I got it, but I don't know, man. 35 hours is what people are saying that the game takes.
35 hours? Oh my
And
goodness.
like
I mean, I get it because like even part one is just you rescuing your fucking uncle, and I can already tell that's going to be a long ways till I get to that mission.
I mean, I like it and all, it's fun, but like, I mean, bro,
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm gonna do it.
35 hours is a long time. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm having fun with it so far. We'll see how far I get. I mean, I do like certain open world aspects to it. I actually really like that as long as it's an open world, I like that there's not waypoints that you kind of have to like explore yourself. That makes it a little bit more interactive than like an Assassin's Creed where you just like ping your map and you're good to go because you use the winds, but there's other stuff like I like that if you want to find the shrines to get more charm
Mm-hmm.
slots that you follow the foxes. There's like those interactive ways of like discovering new stuff that I think I really enjoy. I think it adds a lot more depth to the
Well,
world
see,
than like
the
in
biggest
Assassin's
thing
Creed.
about open world games I hate is traversing.
Mm.
I cannot
Yeah.
stand
Well, that's why I hated
having a
Red Dead 2
mission.
so much that you couldn't fast travel. At least in this, like once you visit someplace, any place, you can fast travel, which I like.
See, and I haven't done it yet.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's
How
I've
do you
already
do it?
used
Do
it
you
quite a
just go
bit.
to the map and then fast travel that way?
Yeah, so as long as you visited somewhere and it isn't taken over by Mongols, you just go to the map, you put your cursor over wherever you
Yeah,
want to go, press triangle, you're there in like less than
right.
30 seconds.
Because and generally, I don't like having to run from like the top of a map to the bottom of a map.
Yeah,
I mean,
I hate
I
that.
like riding. I've had one error so far
I
where
like it
I've
at
been.
first when you discover stuff. I don't mind that part, but yeah, the constant back and forth of having to do it, I hate.
Well, you know, I had one error so far. I think where I was running through a roadway and I had a bunch of bandits surrounded by like a brown box
Hmm.
on the ground, and I kill all of them, and the box is on the ground and it has the circle notification to inspect, but I can't inspect it.
Hmm.
So I'm like, how the fuck do I get this box? I just killed these guys.
Interesting.
Maybe I killed the wrong person and I shouldn't have killed them. I don't know, but
I don't know.
they're all trying to fight me, so I just killed all of them.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's fun, I guess. I like it. I keep seeing people talk saying it's like an amazing game, and I just don't think that any open world game in that sense is going to be amazing except for Cyberpunk.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's an amazing game. I think it's a good game and it's a fun game. I'm having a fun time watching it, and I'd much rather play this than like fucking The Last of Us Part Two, that
Oh
fucking dog
yeah,
shit. But I mean, I think it's the most for me so far. It's the most enjoyable game that's come out this year for me. But there really haven't been that many games that have come out for me. I've really been waiting for a game like this that would like kind of intrigue my interest
yeah.
as far as wanting to play something because I really haven't had because that's my biggest problem is I've just been waiting for this to come out because I've just been staring at my PlayStation and it's just like I really don't want to play any of these games.
Yeah, I get
Um,
that.
which is the big problem. Except I did start Persona 5 Royal. I mean I haven't even got out the intro for that shit, but I'll probably go back to that once I finish this. But I mean, other than those two games, it's just like I haven't really had a need to like do play anything else. And it's like I know as soon as I'm done with this game, if I don't go back to Persona 5, I'm just gonna be staring at waiting for Cyberpunk to fucking come out because nothing else is coming out until Cyberpunk now for
Yeah,
me.
exactly,
Now that this
exactly.
is out,
And
so
that's all the way in November.
yeah.
Well, oh, excuse me. Um, I'll mention the one thing I did this week before we move into the next segment.
Okay.
Um, Obviously, Ghost of Tsushima, Dresden, all kind of stuff. The only other thing I did this week was I read a ton. I read a ton
Ooh, tell me.
of Ace of Diamond, Diamond No Ace, the baseball manga.
Oh, the baseball manga. Yeah, yeah.
I read like I went from chapter one, and I read the first probably 50 chapters like years ago. Um, so I knew the first like up maybe the first arc I knew already.
Okay.
Or at least up until the first tournament right before it ended. I knew what happened, so it was all just
Right.
refreshers. But now I went from chapter 1 to like I'm on chapter like 310 maybe, or
Damn.
like
All right.
two, maybe less than that. Hold on, I'm gonna pull up my app.
Is this series over?
I'm on 302. No, it's in part 2.
Okay.
So there's Diamond No Ace 1, which is like
Hmm.
400 and like something chapters, 412, and then there's
Okay.
Diamond No Ace Act 2, which is still going on right now.
Interesting. Okay.
So I'm
Because I
in,
know there was an anime that I think
yeah.
is still airing or was airing for a long time, but
I
interesting.
think, let me look at chapter Act 2 real quick. Diamond No Ace. Act 2 is on, started in 2015, and it's currently on chapter 219 as of 7/16.
Okay.
So it's still being updated regularly. It's really good. It's drawn
Unlike
really.
JoJo, which I just saw dropped a new chapter finally.
Oh, okay. Artist, it draws really, really, really well. The
Hmm.
story is really good. The characters are really interesting.
Hmm.
Um, but the art is such good art. It's so clean and crisp, and like a lot of like the fucking. I tried reading that basketball manga that you liked, or the anime you liked,
Oh,
the
what was it?
Sora one.
Yeah, a hero no Sora. Yeah.
But the art is such trash that I couldn't read it. And I started. I
Mm.
remember watching some of the anime, going, okay, it's fine. But the art style is so like not appealing.
Mm.
Like all the guy, like the fucking two brothers look so goofy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the
Like
one brother just looks like a blonde Kuwabara.
if you just like if you want good art, I go read Slam Dunk, and like I have great basketball and great art.
Hmm.
So but this is like fucking pristine art. Like it looks so anime, but it looks so good. And the
Hmm.
main character, it is such a fucking. It's all tournament arcs because it's sports, obviously.
Right.
But it's such a good buildup of the main character because the main character is a pitcher and he has talent, but he's not great. And he's
Okay.
constantly building up. So like, I had to Google. I was like, guys, on Reddit, I was like, does he get good? And people are like, yes.
Yes.
Just keep reading. It'll all be worth it. I'm like, okay.
It gets good.
So I'm at the part now in the
Okay.
manga where he's like finally like got skills.
Okay.
So I've been reading that because I've been trying to wet my whistle for for baseball. Excuse me. Next week.
I tried to listen to some of those podcasts. I don't know. They were all previews. The one that I listened to was all just previews for the schedule. It was like it was interesting to see, but it was just like I don't know. I didn't have any connection to it. I was listening to the talking baseball, and I was like, this is fine, but like it's also just like for me who doesn't know anything about baseball, I was like, I don't know what these guys are fucking talking about half the fucking
Oh,
time.
you have to know what baseball is before you start listening to
Yeah.
baseball. Like no baseball podcast is gonna come in there and be like,
Hold my hands.
here's what's gonna happen. They're gonna talk about ERAs and RBIs and all this kind of shit and all these
Uh,
sabermetrics.
why can't I have somebody hold my hand? I don't know what the fuck anybody's talking about.
Watch baseball.
Yeah, I guess I need
You
to.
watch baseball, learn baseball, and then you can go to a podcast and or listen to it, not know what the fuck they're talking about, but you start hearing things over and over and over again, so you
Yeah.
start connecting things. You know, it's not like football podcasts where like I turn on an NFL podcast and I'm like, okay, well, everyone knows what a fucking running back is.
Yeah.
You know, they start talking about in routes or out routes or whatever. Then you're like, okay, what the fuck is that? That's
Yeah.
an extra level of football knowledge you need to know.
Right.
You know, whereas baseball is all extra knowledge. Because basic
I
baseball
noticed
knowledge is
that.
this. Baseball knowledge is basic. It's like, okay, hit a ball, get to a base. But like everything past that, stats wise, that's all extra advanced shit. Like
Yeah.
you got to read Moneyball and then read Smart Baseball, read all these books.
Oh, so much.
You know, but it's because it's for nerds. Baseball is
It's
for
true.
nerds.
Baseball is for nerds.
So I did that, and then I also watched last Wednesday. There was a UFC fight night on
Mm.
their fight. I watched the pay per view last week for UFC, and I watched Wednesday their fight night, and tonight there's a fight night. Um, Pay per view was whatever.
Okay.
It's fine. The main event sucked.
You did.
Everyone says the main event sucked. people who know how to fight understand it, but people like me who watch it for entertainment go, it sucked.
Was it bad because it was because usually, from my experience, as far as I would consider us casual fans of USC. Usually, the reason a fight sucks is because it takes too long, or
No.
either it takes too long or it doesn't take enough time. It's
I
too
would
fast.
say that I am an advanced fan of UFC.
Okay,
I'm not. I listen to podcasts. I know all the style. I know the styles, but I'm not a fighter. And I have never trained. So everything that I know is completely theoretical, and completely from what I hear from people who do know what they're talking about. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like I can't tell you. I understand why this fight was born because it was Jorge Masvidal versus Kamaru Usman. One guy's a striker. One guy's a wrestler. Immediately boring.
Okay.
Immediately boring because
That's boring.
The champion is going to wrestle the striker, and the striker can barely do anything about it because he's a striker. He's not a wrestler. So the champion, who's Kamaru Usman, just controlled the fight the entire time, and was stepping on this guy's toes against the cage. It's just inherently boring, Now, I'm not a wrestler. I've never wrestled. I'm not a jiu-jitsu guy. I've never done jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
But to the layman audience, watching people kick each other is more fun than watching two dudes grapple on the ground.
I mean, for me, it's not even like what they do, but it's just like, I don't know. For me to get invested in a fight, which is probably why I feel like, I don't know why I have this feeling, but it's like I just hate when things are like done too fast.
Sure.
Like I don't like I get the significance of it, and I get as a fighter why you would want to do it, but I hate when shit is done in like one round.
Well, it's because I paid $65.
Well, yeah, that where it's
so
like, yeah,
I want a knockout, in round 3.
Yeah, I want it to be a little bit longer than a fucking
I don't want a 7-second fight.
Yeah, you were in the ring for 60 seconds, you won. It was like, no, that's fucking lame.
I mean, I was looking through, I was scrolling through Reddit, and people are like, again,
but that feels like a bad match card almost, where it's like that person should have been teamed up with that
ultimately
person.
It's hard to choose because the guy's a champion.
Okay.
So ultimately, even if the champion's a grappler, and the number one contender is a striker, you can't just not have that match happen.
Right.
Because it's the number one contender, the champion. It happens, and I get it. And I understand to win a fight, you have to do what you got to do. And if your skill set's wrestling, I theoretically, and as a person who is not completely ignorant to understanding how MMA works, I understand that he won the fight because of his skill set.
Right.
And it's not his job to appeal to me as a fan to change the way he has to win for his record and his money. I get that. Right. But also, I also paid $65, and
yeah, I'm paying like a fucking video game price to watch this. Like,
and it happens sometimes with champions, and sometimes champions don't defend. Sometimes champions are really boring. It happens. It completely does. I understand that.
Yeah.
But people on Reddit who are like me, who get both sides of the story, go, I'm never going to pay for him ever again. I'm never going to pay for a pay-per-view if he is the lead card or the main event. It's not happening because fuck that guy. Not he's a bad guy or anything. He's just fucking boring.
Yeah.
He's just boring to watch. There's a reason why people like watching Conor McGregor. Because he fucking punches and kicks and strikes and is exciting and energetic, whatever.
Yeah.
This guy was boring. It was so boring. My girlfriend was watching it, and she was like, this is so fucking boring.
So who was it? Was he the wrestler?
Kamaru Usman, the champion?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the wrestler, yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
he's a good wrestler. I'm not saying
so it was a lot of groundwork, and that was... Yeah,
not even groundwork. It was they pushed him up against the cage the whole time.
It was a what?
Had him against the cage.
You broke up there for a little bit.
Had him against the cage the whole time. It was really boring, really boring. Whereas on Wednesday was the fight night, which was like it's the not pay-per-view, was so much better. All the fighters there were like fucking awesome. Spin kicks and like fucking flying elbows and shit.
Yeah,
was awesome,
that's
dude.
what I want to fucking see. I want to see some fucking I want to see some high roundhouse kicks. That's what I'm fucking
Yeah, it
good to
was it
see.
was awesome. So tonight, that's another fight night. I'm excited to watch. I got my Modelo beer, the
Hmm.
official beer of the UFC. That's why I
Okay.
bought it. So that's what I did. We can move into the news of the week.
Yes, quite a bit of it.
What do you want to hit first?
Let's look. Um, Assassin's Creed Valhalla gameplay was officially released
It
after the
was.
leaks from last week. Um,
It looks bad.
yeah, I
It
don't
looks
know.
bad. It looks the same.
It looks. I mean, yeah, that's the biggest problem with me. Is it's not bad. It's just the same. It's the same shit from Odyssey. There's tiny touches here and there, but for the most part, it's the same
It
fucking
looks
shit.
like Ghost of Tsushima.
It does not look like Ghost of
Like
Tsushima.
literally, dude. I'm looking at both these gameplays, going like, the skin is different. This is the same fucking game.
Mm.
This is the same fucking game.
Yeah.
Skin different. The horse mechanics. The
I mean, the
combat looks so
axe shit is like
similar.
probably the coolest shit, but
I
the
didn't
dual
see.
wielding axes, the
Oh
throwing
yeah,
axes. You
yeah.
didn't see that? Yeah, yeah.
I mean, even that. So
But
that
even if I was gonna play it, that would be all I would be doing because all that other shit looks fucking boring as fuck. I don't give a fuck
right.
about any of that other stuff. I want to throw axes. I don't want to dual wield axes. And I want to bash people's fucking heads in. That's all I want to do as a Viking.
But in terms of like,
And I want to pillage villages. God damn it.
it's
Which I
clearly
can't do.
it's clearly not a like the way that Origins was a progression from the game before that. This is not a progression from Odyssey. It's just the same thing with new
Yeah.
stuff.
Well,
Which
I feel like either we had this conversation or I heard somebody else have this conversation. Maybe I heard it on Castle Super Beats where it was just like Ubisoft with Assassin's Creed just keeps doing the same shit over and over
oh
again
yeah,
until people are finally sick of it and the gameplay or and the games don't sell well. And then they're like, "Oh, we should change something." And then they'll finally change something about the series that's like a drastic change, like the
yeah.
difference
We
between
mentioned this last week where like
yeah.
they realized people weren't buying the game as much, so they took time to redevelop it. But now it's kind of like, okay, you're buying it
We've got
again.
this yeah. I don't know. And it sucks. It sucks so much because I am more interested for this than I am for like anything else because it's goddamn Vikings, dude. Vikings are the fucking shit. How do
Well,
you make Vikings look fucking boring?
I'll just wait until God of War 2 comes out.
Have there even hints about that? I mean,
No,
clearly they're going to do
they're
it, but
going
like
to, but there's no. I haven't seen anything else about it. But
next gen only, baby. But
all right. Well, HBO Max is going to get a prequel series of the Batman,
yes.
which is going to focus on Gotham PD, which is essentially that Ed Brubaker run
Hmm.
from the mid 2000s.
I didn't read that run, but I remember seeing it, and I was just like, oh, it's interesting.
It's a really good series. It's a really cool concept,
Hmm.
and I think this is pretty much going to pull directly from that, if not have like so many things just stolen from there. I
Hmm.
haven't seen Brubaker's name attached to anything yet for this prequel series for HBO Max, but
Hmm.
they would have to there's no way you could have a prequel series for Batman in Gotham about
Hmm.
Gotham cops and not take from his stuff.
Right.
They're going to do it. I guarantee they looked at it before they even wrote the fucking pitch for it. So I know it's for sure going to have so many elements of it. So
Yeah.
I don't care because I don't need to see. We already had a Gotham show.
Yeah. Does Gotham PD focus around Jim Gordon, or is it more about other people at PD?
It's other people.
I mean, that's more interesting to me, I guess. But yeah, I mean, Gotham we already had that was all about Jim Gordon and fucking what is it, Harvey Weinstein? Who the
Bullock.
fuck is his partner? Harvey Bullock.
Bullock, yeah.
I don't know. And I mean, I started watching Gotham and gave up like 5 episodes in because it was fucking boring. Um, which sucks because I love Jim as a character, but that show was fucking not good.
I never watched it.
Yeah, I mean, I watched it when it was first coming out because I think that was also the shit where I was in the big CW phase. Was out because that was when it was like Gotham came out the same time as I was super into Arrow and super into Flash, I think there
Yeah.
was some other thing coming out then too that I was like trying to get into, and then it was just like Gotham was boring. After season 3, I gave up on Arrow. After I think also season 3 of Flash, because I haven't watched Flash since then. What was season 3 of Flash? Was that the
Oh
Death
God,
Racer?
I don't know, man.
I think that was the Death Flash.
I binge
Black
watched those
Flash?
seasons so fast. I don't even
I don't
fucking
remember.
know.
I don't remember. The last time I watched one was the last time I watched The Flash was when I moved to Myrtle Beach, so 2.5 years ago.
And now I won't watch it now because they fired the guy who plays Ralph.
They did? Oh yeah, didn't he
Yeah,
say something that was like sexist or something like that?
something like that, like on tweets from years ago or some shit like that. So I
Yeah,
won't watch him now because he was funny.
but Nick Cannon still has a fucking job.
Nick Cannon
So.
still has a job. Usagi Yojimbo from the great
Mm,
and powerful Stan Sakai,
yeah.
Ghost of Tsushima reference,
Hmm.
is getting a Netflix CGI animated series. It's not based on the comic book. It's based on like in the future. So it's
Hmm.
going to be Samurai Jack, but with Yojimbo. And if you haven't read Yojimbo, anyone who listens to this, or Zach, if you've never read Yojimbo,
I've seen it when it was advertised alongside a collaboration with TMNT. That's the only
yes.
way. That's the only place I saw it.
So Stan Sakai and Kevin Eastman of TMNT fame are really good friends. They've done a ton of crossovers with art stuff, with some of the stories.
Hmm.
It's obviously a similar vibe. TMNT is fucking anthropomorphic turtle ninjas. Usagi is a anthropomorphic samurai rabbit. So it's similar vibe. It's really
Okay.
great. I really enjoy Yojimbo. I still read it from IDW, has the current run. I still read it every month.
Okay.
I have the box set of like the first 10 years of the initial run.
Okay.
It's an awesome comic book, and I'm really excited to see it finally get a cartoon because it should have got a cartoon fucking years ago. It should have got a
Hmm.
cartoon when TMNT got a cartoon. It makes no
Yeah.
sense why it never did. I don't understand it.
Hmm.
But I'm really excited for this whenever
Okay.
it does come out. So that
Interesting.
is that. And more comic book news though.
Okay.
Rorschach is going to get a spin-off series written by Tom King, and I don't give a fuck.
I mean, all I saw was that you wrote Tom King, and I was like, I don't care, because Tom King bored me with his Batman run. He's gonna bore me with his Rorschach run. I also don't know what the fuck this is gonna be like, because obviously this is gonna be Doomsday Clock shit, but I never finished Doomsday Clock, so I don't even know like what the fuck it's gonna be about. I'm assuming this is gonna be the Black Rorschach that was introduced in Doomsday Clock.
I don't think so. I think it's supposed to be the main Rorschach. I
It's
think.
supposed to be the original one, so this is like before
And
Watchmen.
in the article, there's a synopsis, and it mentions Rorschach.
It
And
says
my
it's set 35 years after Watchmen, so it
Yeah,
can't be the original because he's fucking dead.
right. But my interpretation, it's either it could be the black guy, but like I don't know what they're gonna do if it's gonna be because I can't imagine that they're gonna want to connect it to the original one that much. But will they
The
really
real
want to
question
do?
is, are they going to connect it to the fucking HBO show?
See, I think they're going to. I think they're going to go that
They're going
direction.
to make him a racist.
Because that's what the first thing I thought about when I saw that it was written by Tom King was, okay, they're going to make it a hate guy, a hatred dude.
Yeah.
They're going to go that route, and it baffles my mind that people even think the show is good.
I mean, I gave up on it after like I think 3 or 4 episodes in, because I just didn't care anymore. And then I was talking to my coworker when we moved down here because I think he finished it, and he's usually more forgiving than I am. And he said he finished it, and he was like, it was fucking stupid. And I was like, well, then I definitely don't want to finish it.
So heavy-handed.
Well, it was like it wasn't even like that shit. The character stuff was the stuff that made him think that it was bullshit. Because whatever they do with Doctor Manhattan, I knew that they like make him whoever the main chick is, Regina King. They fucking I think it ends up being that like Doctor Manhattan is like her fucking husband. So it's not even like the same Doctor Manhattan. It's like some weird other dude. And but he finished it, and my coworker, or the guy that I used to work with at Myrtle Beach, who like I used to watch movies with all the time, was just like, It's fucking garbage. And I was like, all right, well, I'm definitely not fucking finishing that shit. Because if you think it's
Yeah.
garbage, then I'm definitely gonna think it's fucking
Oh,
garbage.
absolutely. Well, let me hit on this for speaking of me ranting. Let me hit
Mm.
on this for a second.
All right.
Jamie Foxx is making a Mike Tyson biopic.
I did not see this at all.
I didn't know until I saw this article, but he's apparently been in the works for a hot minute.
Huh.
Jamie Foxx has been teasing some stuff here and there, talking about how he has to get bulk up for it, get his nutrition right.
I mean, he better fucking bulk up. He's
Yeah,
trying to play Mike
it's
Tyson.
gonna be a dramatic movie, all those kind of shit. Now, here's my infinite problem with this.
Are they really gonna bite somebody's ear off?
I don't even give a shit about that. Mike Tyson's a convicted rapist who
Is he?
served time in jail for rape in like '92.
Oh, I didn't know that. I really don't know
So
that much about Tyson.
obviously, one of the greatest fighters of all time. I
Mhm.
understand that. We have completely forgot that he raped somebody and got convicted of
Apparently,
it.
Discovery Channel did because he's fucking headlining Shark Week
Yeah,
this year.
and
So.
it's not even like it was accused. No, he was convicted of it and went to jail.
Hmm.
And we just forget and forgive.
Mm.
Um, there are certain things I think, like I'll watch a movie about Hitler, right?
Mhm.
Because there's no way you're going to redeem, and he's never been redeemed in
Right.
life. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I can watch a movie about like Custer or someone who's like done evil shit
Hmm.
because ultimately we understand that in the halls of history they're not they were never redeemed in their lifetime, and if they
Hmm.
were, I probably won't watch the movie.
Yeah.
But even like American Sniper, right?
Hmm.
Where that's two different political ideologies. You're gonna look at American Sniper and get two different things from that movie,
Hmm.
right? And but that's your choice to look at that. But there was no criminal act or in the sense of like rape.
Yeah.
But I have a big problem with the idea that at Hollywood we can just forget and bring people back to stardom
That's
and
like
just
Hollywood's whole thing because they fucking high ho. I mean, the fucking Me Too movement was like a huge fucking thing, and then you've got the. I mean, that's like Hollywood's whole thing, and then all of a sudden, when it's convenient for them, they fucking forget that
yeah.
people did or said any of the things
And
that they did or said.
I will watch the movie if I hear reviews that say he did this stuff, went to
Hmm.
jail, or but I know it's not going to. I know it's
Yeah.
going to go like he went to jail, he's a victim, he came out of jail, he got his life around, and then was in some movies. Even though I'm pretty sure there's YouTube footage of him on Oprah saying, yeah, he punched his wife. So like it's stuff like that where
Yeah.
ultimately my taste decision is to not watch
Honestly,
it.
for me, I feel like it's probably not even going to go that far because I mean, when did he go to jail? It was like after his boxing career, right?
92. He was still boxing. It was like in the middle of his boxing
He
career.
was. Oh, okay.
I think he became champion like '89 or something.
Because I feel like the way that they would do it was that they would just like not even answer that at all. They would
Yeah.
just like stop the movie before like that even becomes like a thing.
And look, and it's tough, man, because he's such a great boxer,
Hmm.
and you, as a champion, you want to like idolize your heroes and like legendary people, but at the
Hmm.
same time, I have a line in the sand. Like if he was accused of rape, like would I watch an R. Kelly movie? I don't. Probably not. Like there's accusals, but there's also a lot of shit he's done. You
Yeah.
know, like, but I don't know. Give me like a white guy so I can make it even. Give me a white guy who's a Harvey
Uh,
Weinstein movie.
a
Like
Harvey Weinstein
what
movie.
I'm not trying to compare
Hmm.
Harvey Weinstein to Mike Tyson in terms of criminal activity, but in terms of like they both had sexual assault stuff against them.
Hmm.
I wouldn't watch the movie because there's no way that that person can be redeemed. But we did redeem Mike Tyson.
Hmm.
We put him in the Hangover and was like, yeah, he's the champ.
Yeah.
You know, maybe, but in a world where we cannot forgive people for things that they tweeted 10 years ago, but from we know
Or
words,
emails they sent to girls.
but words, but
Allegedly.
the actual act of sexual assault from '92 we can just completely brush under the rug because the person had big arms and punched someone in the face really hard.
Yeah. We've never
It
talked about that, have we? On this
what
show.
what?
Have we talked about Chris?
No, we haven't.
I don't know if I want to. Oh,
I don't
I
even know
did
what
something.
happened.
I thought of it. Did I rip my
I don't
earbuds
even
out?
understand. I don't even know what happened. He just talked to some girls on Instagram and they were too young or something.
yeah, that's the accusation, which I don't believe because the way. First of all, I hate anything that starts on Twitter. It automatically makes me uber suspicious because Twitter is a fucking cesspool of people who are just like trying to fucking get clout, and
Yeah.
I fucking hate everybody that's on it. So that automatically makes me suspicious of it. But the accusation was that he was basically talking to girls and DMing girls and emailing girls that were like underage.
Mm.
And the accusation is that he was grooming them, which is like, I don't know. I don't believe that. I've also seen stuff where he's sent emails back and he figures out that the girls are under 18 and he's like, peace.
Right.
But I don't know. It's the problem is that once these accusations are against you, unless you have like actual hard evidence, it's hard to tell what's real and what's fabricated.
Yeah.
And so now it's like it's in this weird world where, because I don't even think he's done a podcast since that shit came out, which is
Well,
unfortunate.
And it ultimately becomes the fact that you fly too close to the sun, man. If you're a white guy,
Yeah, that's true.
don't get too famous when you're a white guy because you're going to get destroyed pretty easily. You know, because
Yeah, he's done a podcast since that shit came out, and it's been like a month and a half now. So
because not Jamie Foxx, but even Jamie Foxx was accused of sexual assault too, I believe. But
yeah,
you know, Nick Cannon has one job of his two jobs still.
yeah.
Dwayne Wade tweeted about supporting him, then deleted the tweet and was like, "Oh, I didn't mean that."
Yeah.
But, you know, a football player from the Eagles tweeted out literally tweeted out a quote from Hitler.
Well, it was like fucking Nick Cannon did the shit where he was like fucking saying that like Jews control the world and shit like that, and Fox is like, yeah, we'll still give you your job.
Right.
And they CBS fired him, but Fox was like, he apologized. He's like, he fucking said that like the most anti-Semitic shit I've ever fucking heard, dude.
And look, if we're going, here's the thing. I don't care what you believe. I don't care what you say. This is America. Say what you want to say. That's fine. Believe what you want to believe. But if we're going to play by one set of rules, it has to apply to everybody.
Got to. But that's the problem.
At least in that
space. Apply to everybody.
Yeah, at least in the space of entertainment business. I mean, I don't know other things, but if we're going to get mad at one person for this and not this for this person, then we can start,
Yeah.
We got to start having conversations.
It's the problem, man. It's just everybody's splitting hairs because nobody cares as long as those people say things that you agree with, nobody cares.
Exactly. It's all self-affirmation.
Yeah.
Paul Thomas Anderson has a new movie coming out at some point. And it's moving between studios. It's moving from Focus to MGM, but I don't even care about that because the movie is supposed to be a 1970s coming-of-age movie about an actor in high school in California. And I didn't know that he was making a movie, let alone this movie, and I'm really excited for it. That's all. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for that. It sounds like a fucking rad thing for a movie.
The last two PTA movies, I didn't watch the last one, and the one before that I didn't care about.
The last one was
Phantom
Joaquin
Thread.
Phoenix, right?
Phantom Thread.
That was PTA?
That was Daniel Day-Lewis's final movie.
Yeah.
That was Phantom Thread.
So then before that was the Joaquin Phoenix one.
Yeah, Inherent Vice.
Yeah.
And I didn't really care for that, and then before that it was There Will Be Blood, I'm pretty sure. No, it was The Master. I was
about to say, I was like, I feel like There Will Be Blood was older than that.
And even The Master I didn't like either. So really,
I haven't watched that. Yeah.
At this point, PTA's filmography is about half and half with me. Like I love Boogie Nights.
Yeah.
Punch Drunk Love. I'm pretty sure he did.
Yeah, that's him.
It's fine. What did he do after that? He did Magnolia. Yeah. Right? That was whatever.
It's him.
That was whatever. Pretty much, I just like Boogie Nights. Pretty much. Let me go to his filmography real quick just to make sure I'm right.
Paul Thomas Anderson. There Will Be Blood, Phantom Thread, Magnolia, The Master, Boogie Nights, Inherent Vice, Punch Drunk Love.
Magnolia was first, and then it was Punch Drunk Love.
Yeah.
So okay, well, I think it's a cool idea. It sounds very much like Dazed and Confused.
Yeah, that's fine.
What is next, Zach?
Let's see. Far Cry 6 announced with a trailer. You got the Breaking Bad guy, which I haven't seen Breaking Bad, but I think he was in The Mandalorian. I liked him in there. That's cool.
He was the Mandalorian?
Yeah, he is like the Imperial general that shows up in episode 7 and 8. That basically is like.
I didn't see that.
They set him up as the big bad for season 2. He's the one that comes out with the He has the black lights.
I didn't finish it.
Oh, he has the black lightsaber or whatever that was introduced in like the Clone Wars or whatever. Like he has it.
Like the dark sword or whatever.
Dark sword, dark saber or whatever the fuck it is. He has it. He cuts himself out of a TIE fighter with it, and it's like, all right, that's the big bad for season 2. So that's cool. I don't know. I've never been a big huge. Have you played a lot of Far Cry games? I've never been a huge.
No, not at all.
I played 3, and it was fine, but it was like Assassin's Creed but worse because it was like it's so based around like crafting and all that other shit, and I fucking hate all that garbage.
I played 4 for a little bit, but then I just didn't care enough.
Yeah, I played 3 and I played 3 for a little bit. I didn't care. I played Blood Dragon and I fucking love that shit.
Yeah, I've never played it.
Blood Dragon is fun because it's not about crafting. It's just you being a fucking 80s action star and just fucking shooting up a place, which is nice.
Man, I think that 5. I thought 5 had a cool concept, but I just never picked it up.
Conscious was interesting, but yeah, I never played it. And then there was like the pseudo sequel that I was like half DLC. I think that was like 5, but like 30 years in the future or some shit like that.
Yeah.
It's like a post-apocalypse Far Cry. I don't know. I just never picked it up. I mean, the concept was interesting, but yeah, I just never actually bit the bullet and play it because I'd had such a sour taste in my mouth from Far Cry 3 of just like running around and crafting and like not having any fun doing that I just I don't know. I haven't picked anyone up since then.
But also,
the concepts are interesting.
It has the same problem that Assassin's Creed has, where every game is literally the same. And it just repeats so much.
Yeah, I mean every game's the same. The only thing that's different is where it takes place, which is the Assassin's Creed thing. Is every Assassin's Creed game is on a fundamental level the same game. It just whatever time era. But I mean the thing that Far Cry is it's basically the same thing for me as fucking Just Cause, except it's not third person.
Yeah.
And not as fun, because it's not as much based around, like, wacky grappling hook physics bullshit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the trailer looks cool. It's fine. I mean, CG trailers usually look fucking cool. I mean, I like this concept of us. I mean, it's been going on for a while now, but the concept of just like sticking a big name actor or niche actor that everybody loves, and like that's going to be the selling point of your fucking game.
Right. Saw that with like Until Dawn and shit too.
Yeah,
all those.
It was like that fucking Call of Duty, whatever one that had Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
I feel like that was the first big one where it was like we're gonna have a big actor and he's gonna be the push that's gonna make people buy the game, even though people don't fucking buy Call of Duty to play the fucking stories. So
seriously, you're not joking.
I mean, I play it, but I don't buy it to play it.
I think to wrap up news, we can talk about the Green Knight RPG.
That looks dope.
So the Green Knight movie coming out, A24, Arthurian tale about.
I'm pretty sure we talked about the trailer.
We did. It
looks dope.
The A24 is releasing an RPG. Tabletop RPG essentially for the game, and they've made a really great looking like retro ass trailer.
It looks like fucking retro fucking D&D. I mean, at least the box they show in the trailer looks like fucking. It looks like a fucking D&D.
The trailer itself it's so retro. They have the aspect ratio, the clothes, the fucking the grain. It's a really good trailer. I don't know if it's worth buying.
Mm.
But the idea is cool. I mean, if
I would have to know more about the rule set of the RPG to know whether or not it'd be worth buying or not. But
I mean, for $35, it's not bad.
yeah,
And
I mean, it's a terrible.
the art book looks really cool. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm trying to see if it's using a game system that I know, but it's not. I mean, it
I
could be
mean, the
cool.
concept of it is awesome.
I mean, you have pre-made character classes with all the sheets in
Yeah.
there, so maybe it's not like that traditional tabletop-y, but I mean, it's cool looking. I mean, the box looks cool.
Yeah.
I'd buy it just to have it as an art piece.
Yeah.
Um, but other than that, I think that's really everything I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I feel like that's as far as the list is concerned. That's really all I wanted to talk about. I mean, there were some other smaller stories in there, but like, I don't know, really not that important. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's the new movie coming out from Chris Evans and
Chris Evans movie. The fact that Uncharted is somehow filming, even though that movie is in like a perpetual state of hell in the same lane as Akira. Um,
that fucking Akira and what was it the one that James Wan wanted to do? Robotech.
oh yeah, Robotech. Yeah.
Just never happening.
Yeah.
Well,
Somehow
Zach,
it's happening, but I don't believe it. But
do you want to hit on this our topic idea, or do you want to call it? What do you want to do?
what was our topic idea? I don't remember now.
It was that thing
Oh
about
yeah,
Madden or
that's
something.
right. The 2K. I don't know. It's not super important. I don't know. I feel like we've had a pretty full episode.
Okay. Well, guys.
I mean, the only big thing is that 2K's $6.99, and it's like, I don't know if everybody's gonna do it, but I mean, if they did, I mean, it would make sense. It's just the way AAA games are going.
Eventually, games go up in price, but whatever.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thanks for listening.
Excellent.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you back next week with more License to View.
Stick with us
See ya.
somehow.